Welcome back. It is time to get back to some gravel racing here in Michigan. It's been a long winter, man. It's been a long winter indeed. But the Barry-Roubaix, the first race for me of the season and the biggest race for me of the season, is just about 2 weeks away. Last year I did the 36-mile course. This year I'm going to be doing the 62-mile course because I am taking part in the long course category of the Michigan Gravel Race Series. There's a couple of notable differences about this race this year versus last year. This year, it's going to be in March. It's snowing outside right now, and it's only 2 weeks until the race. Last year it was in October, beautiful weather. Would love for that again, but hey, I'll take it however I get it. The organizers have also made a really good decision to change up how the finishes work for the races. So the 18 and the 36 are going to finish in their regular spot right by the after party. You're headed back into town, you take a left turn, and then there's the finish. The 62 and 100 mile races are now going to be finishing about a mile out of town on a stretch of road that actually ends up in a climb to the finish line. Back at the end of last year, 2021, I had this grand plan for how I was going to train threshold training, blah, blah, blah. I got injured, and since then, I've been trying to work my way back up to where I was at the end of last year, and maybe just a smidge better. If you take a look at this graph here, I've got the last week of my injury is where the graph starts. So I rode about an hour and a half. It was just the next week that I really figured out what was wrong. I got up to 5 hours, and then in February I was over 7 hours. Then coming into March, I was riding over 8 hours per week. Now most of that training's been done inside on Zwift, but when I have ridden outside, the conditions match almost identically to what we are going to be seeing on Saturday. Here we go, the start of the 2022 Barry-Roubaix, the 62-mile distance. This is wave 1 that I'm in, and I don't know if that was such a good idea because look at how fast these people are. They are pulling away from me like I'm standing still, and in just 1.9 miles, they're already up the road. Now this is the first time we see dirt in the race, and I wasn't sure if with the freezing temperatures and the wet conditions if this would be icy. As soon as I figured out that it wasn't, and these guys were hammering, I was able to put down some power and give it some gas as well. Now, why was I in wave 1, right? I'm not really a wave 1 kind of guy. There's a couple of reasons. First, I really thought that I might be able to hang out with these riders here in wave 1. I really did. And at the very least, I wanted to hang out with them long enough to get me to Sager Road, because that would mean there wouldn't be a whole lot of riders to deal with on Sager Road. One of the big issues with Sager is you have to dodge other riders. So I wanted to get there quick, and I hope this group could do it for me. But we're already coming into one of the notable features of this race, the Three Sisters. This is the first sister, a rather nice sister, not too big of a climb, but it is a quick little punch to the legs, over 370 watts there, which is over 5 watts per kilogram for me. Now, for clearly many of these people in this particular wave, that's not a big deal, but for me, that hurts. So I'm rolling down pretty easy, gonna get ready for this second sister. Trying to make sure I know where I am in terms of the other riders. I don't want to get in anyone's way. It's pretty clear to me that some of these other riders that are around me are going to be stronger and faster, and I don't want to hold them up because I made what could be seen as a poor decision to be in wave 1. So we're on the second hill, and I'm sort of realizing that although my heart rate's doing okay, this is a lot of power, and we're 2 miles into the race, and I've got like 60 more miles to race. So I need to calm down a little bit, just get over the third sister with some people, and hopefully we can work together a little bit. That's the dream, that's the plan. This guy in the red kit, he and I had been sort of traversing these hills at the same speed, same tempo, so I thought maybe I could hang out with him. And after we get over this hill, we'd be buddies. And that's kind of the case, so I decide to just sit on his wheel, and I'm not holding back by any means. I'm just trying to keep a pace that makes sense as we come into the base of the third sister. Now again, I wanted to leave in this entire feature because it is important. Maybe you're somebody who's looking at this race in the future and you want to know what the Three Sisters is. Well, this is it. This is what it looks like. And I'll tell you, it's actually in really great shape today. This was a good looking course given what we've been dealing with weather-wise. Everything from 65 degree days to sub-freezing snow and all of that. So it looks great. It's riding really well so far, and I'm really happy. I'm happy with my performance, and I'm happy with the course so far. And I'm pretty high on life, pretty high on riding bikes. Something I hadn't expected was that I was hearing some banging and some noise as I was coming over the top of this hill. And this is the end of the third sister, but just beyond, but Hastings band had brought down a drum line and some drums, and these kids were just killing it. That brought such a huge smile to my face. I loved hearing those drums in the woods like that, just because we're out here riding bikes. Amazing. You can see that there is some conditions here at the road that aren't perfect. You got to pick a line, but it just adds to the fun, right? Now we've got over the Three Sisters. The next thing we're gonna have to deal with is Sager. But we've got to get there first. So what I'm looking to do is hang out with a group or a couple of different groups, or whoever will take me basically, and try to get there as quick as possible without expending too much effort, right? Basically race there. So these guys are really kindly letting me hang on. The issue with this is that they're all stronger than me. So I'm having a lot of trouble staying with them. Now, Wave 2 actually caught our little group, and some of the guys decided they wanted to hang out with this new Wave 2 that had just gotten in front of us. You can see them there, a big group of them. And we tried. Some of us made it, but you can see me and these guys here, we're having a tough time hanging on. I was doing 450 watts and the group's pulling away pretty comfortably. Now I'm still trying to get back into that group, but right here's where I call it quits. Somebody had attacked off the front of that group and the group's chasing itself. I am not going to make that up. And if I do, they're just gonna be too fast for me. At mile 12, another, maybe a little bit less notable, but just as important feature, the Gun Lake Road climb. I knew coming into this climb it was going to be important to be in a group as well. I wanted to have people to pace me up this thing. If I go on my own, I probably won't ride hard enough and I'll get past and I'll make these big efforts to surge. I want to do one consistent effort, and these gentlemen here were a huge help in that. Now I didn't get to help them and pace them up at all because again, they're just too strong. These guys were just amazing at climbing this hill. It's paved, which takes some of the technical bits of riding away from it, but it's long. It's a pretty fast climb. You can get up it in the double digits, but it's still long. It's enough gradient to where drafting doesn't help you a whole lot. And they are just cranking it out. I remember thinking at this point in the race that some of these guys don't even appear to be trying that hard. Like this is sort of like a tempo ride for them. Very jealous. Here we go. One of the most famous miles in Michigan gravel racing, Sager Road. We turn onto it. Now we turned onto it with a really big group just about to catch us. I actually tried to slow up a little bit in hopes that they might ride around me before we got to Sager. I didn't want to hold them up and get bumped around in here, but it sort of happened anyways. I let them through, and when I saw my opportunity, I wanted to actually jump on the back of them. I was pretty comfortable riding fast through Sager at this point. It looked like the road was in pretty good shape, and it really was. Having ridden it just 5 months earlier in October and having to walk a couple of times, I was really happy to see that the wetness had made the sand a little bit more compact. Now, I think something else that was also benefiting me here is that we were some of the first people of thousands that would come through here. And by thousands, I mean probably 1,600, 2,000 people that would ride this section of road this day. I believe we would be in the first couple hundred. So if ruts and sand got turned over and pushed through, it'd probably be a little bit more difficult to ride later on, especially if you were in the 36-mile waves. But I'm gonna quit talking for a bit. Just enjoy Sager Road. As we come up to the end of Sager Road, I couldn't be more pumped about how the race is going so far. I'm still holding on to wheels. I know I just rode the entirety of Sager Road. Granted, the conditions were pretty good, for now anyways. They were good when I went through there. But I am feeling so good. I'm still feeling strong. And as we turn off of Sager, I'm met with this beautiful view. Everything's in this like frosted, snowy, icy, wintry covering, and it just looks fantastic. But not long after, you're met with the wall. Another notable feature about the Barry-Roubaix. It's this really steep, not terribly long climb that you have to deal with. And it is a little bit mischievous, as once you get to what you think is the top, you turn left and there's more climb. Short, but there's still more climb. And it's also in really good condition. The road doesn't have any holes. I thought it would have those craters from rain coming down. I guess there's a little bit on the far left and the far right, but plenty of room for us all to try to scrape our way up this hill. So again, I'm going to leave you to just watch the entirety of the wall. And how cool is it that they were out there playing music in these conditions? I mean, they're standing still, they're having to use their fingers and their lips, which are probably frozen to play those instruments. I just love that they were out there supporting us. It's just amazing. So we get to the top and we start a descent, and things are still pretty good, but I've only ever really raced short course series races. I've never raced, apart from more of an adventure ride over 100 miles, I've never raced in excess of 40 miles. Now this race is 62 miles, and I've done the 3 most notable features in the first half of the race. There's still a whole another half of the race to come, and I'm trying to hang on to these wheels. This guy in the orange was really strong. He did a lot of pulling after the wall on this paved section, which was huge because the wind was really putting a damper on you if you tried to go solo. But he's doing a ton of work. You can see I'm getting a little bit of a break here. I dropped under 100 watts there for a moment. But I think one of the things, or one of the errors that I made, was I only knew about the first half of the course. I had no idea what was to come after the first half, because it couldn't have been as big a deal as Three Sisters, the Wall, and Sager Road, right? Well, what was to come were these really punchy little kicker climbs like this one here. And when the riders around you are putting in a certain amount of power, you just want to stay with them, because when I look back, I don't see anybody, and I don't see anybody in front of me. Here we are on another climb, and he's really turning the screws. And I don't think he's doing it on purpose. I think that he's just that strong. So anytime I'm over 250 watts, I'm over 4 watts per kilo, or 280, I guess. I'm over 4 watts per kilo, which is not a place that I'm comfortable. So again, another climb, 33 miles in, just over halfway. And these guys are really hammering up these little kickers. Another one. I mean, this one is comparable to the Wall, and I've never even heard about it. I don't even know what it is. All I know is it's really hard, and they're going really fast up it. So naturally, I need to stay with them. It's pretty easy to tell that these people are good at this. It's almost like they knew what they signed up for, and I didn't. So here we are. This group had caught us, or caught me rather. I'd actually fallen off that group we just saw. And a lot of these riders I'd ridden with earlier in the race. I'd gotten a bit ahead of them, but they all coalesced and made this really great group, and I was stoked because I'm thinking, okay, I can ride with these guys. Right around 200 watts, this is where I belong. This is the group I'm gonna be with for the rest of the race. And then my legs started to feel funny, some spasming, and then all of a sudden, every muscle in my legs locks up. and completely cramps. This has never happened to me where I've had to stop before. I have to completely stop.
Yeah.
That just brings a smile to your face seeing that even in the video again. It just really makes me smile. The drums from the T-Rex are fantastic. But I gotta catch up a little bit here. So my legs locked up. I stood there for a good long while and decided, well, I'll see how far I can get. So I got going again, and I made it to the aid station at mile 44. I got some liquid, some food, and the volunteers were super nice. I really appreciate them being there. They were doing a fantastic job of getting everyone what they needed. And now I'm here, and I'm on this hill. And this guy in front of me, he and I were discussing about how we were both cramping, and we just wanted to get to the end of the race. At this point, that is my entire goal, is just finish this course. Now when this gentleman rides by me, standing up, I am so jealous. That's all I want to do. I want to stand up and put power down. My heart rate's okay, but I can't put any power down because my legs will lock up, guaranteed. In fact, what I do on this hill is too much, and it catches up with me very soon.
Come on, buddy. Work with me.
This guy on the dirt bike is also a volunteer. He stops, checks on me, makes sure I'm all good. I let him know that I'm okay, and I'm gonna keep on rolling. And then pretty much the last 8.5-ish miles are just me limping my way back to the finish. And it's hard. But I make it to the bottom of the final climb. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that this ends on a climb, so I knew that. I knew that this was a climb. And my biggest fear right now is that my legs cramp up and I have to walk to the top of the finishing climb. It is so terrifying that I'm going as lightly as possible to keep moving forward. There is no race left in me. There is only survive and finish. So I can wrap up a couple of things while I limp my way up this climb. First, again, the event was put on in such a wonderful way. I can't say enough about it. The people that were involved were all so friendly, from check-in to the people who gave you your beer at the after party. Everybody was so helpful and nice. Nobody was upset to be there. And I don't know how they did that, but it's amazing. Second, some people weren't super stoked about this finish being kind of outside of town, not at the after party. But for me, who is feeling a little bit embarrassed, this is completely content with me. I also, before the race, thought if that I were in a group and we're going to sprint up this hill, I would much rather be on this hill than at high speeds around riders from other distances who might not know that we're coming or what have you. Granted, on this day, it wouldn't have mattered, but it could have mattered, and it might have mattered for those who were much faster than me in the other distances. So you can see here we got a second shot from my wonderful girlfriend who walked all the way to the end of this, or out to this finish, to get some footage. I really appreciate her as well. She makes these videos happen also. So you can see, I'm very defeated at this moment. I'll tell you, I'm very defeated, but we're at the finish. We made it. We survived. We survived the 62-mile Barry-Roubaix 2022, and it's a story for the books, and it's a story for you. There we go. Done in just under 4 hours. So I roll back in to the after party, and we partake in some of the food, the beverages. I even got to meet somebody who watches the videos, Alex. Thanks for coming to say hi. I appreciate that. It's sort of hard to imagine that real people watch these things. So definitely, that's super cool to have happen. There's the beer. We, of course, had a beverage. There we are. And we watched the awards ceremony. it was a good day, and I really couldn't have asked for any more. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.